On today's show, we'll tell you our takeaways from the Austin Matthews and Brad Treliving presser. I think the Leafs have to trade Willie Nylander, Dave. I'll explain why shortly. All that and more on today's edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast hosted by myself, Mike DiStefano, and my co-host, Dave Morassutti. And Dave, you can tell that the season is fast approaching because we're starting to see some of the players come out of the woodworks and start to talk with media. Obviously, Matthews and Treliving speaking after getting a deal done, the extension for Austin Matthews, who's here for technically 5 more years, but signed a 4-year extension last week. And they spoke on Friday, so we'll kind of touch on what our takeaways were from that press conference. But then William Nylander also speaking to Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick on 32 Thoughts. So there's a couple of things that we got to talk about there. And one thing that really made me think that this should be the end of William Nylander in Toronto. I'll tell you what that is in a moment. But let's touch on Austin Matthews and Brad Treliving first. They spoke on Friday, as I mentioned. What kind of were your takeaways? We'll start with Austin Matthews. Your takeaways from him after speaking on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of typical. Like, it wasn't anything where I was like, oh, like he said something that I wasn't expecting here. Like it was the highlights were there, right? He hit on all the points he needed to hit on with that contract extension. I think, good that they were asking him why not the 8 years, right? Like, I think we needed to kind of hear that and hear why he didn't need to, why he felt 8 years wasn't something he wanted, right? I think even for Brad Treliving, when they asked him about it, like, I actually kind of like Treliving's answer, right? Like, 5 years in professional sports is a really long time.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I didn't mind that answer. I know some people are still gonna not like the whole explanation of why not 8 years. I get it. We just been conditioned to think that 8 years should be the norm, right? And so I kind of like that they were. I mean, they knew that question was coming. Like, if you didn't expect that question coming, you haven't done your homework, right? But I think, I just think that there didn't seem to be any animosity about how the talks went. It felt like it was just smooth and a collaborative process, right? Didn't sometimes with these negotiations, you kind of hear that there's one side has to concede a little bit, and they're maybe a little bit bitter about it. Didn't feel like that at all. Although with a superstar player, you usually shouldn't try to put yourself in a position where there's any animosity in a deal because you want that superstar to be, feel like that, a fair deal was made and he's now got to live up to his end of the bargain.
Yeah, and maybe not the same as going on with William Nylander's deal. We'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, I agree. Like, he didn't say anything earth shattering that we didn't expect to come out of his mouth. I think he just reiterated how he wanted to stay in Toronto. He said he wanted to, and despite what people in the media were saying, some people or what other fan bases were saying, he's going back to Arizona. He's gonna go to LA, New York. He wants to go play in the South. What does a kid from down south want to do playing up in Toronto, up in Canada? Well, it turns out he does want to play here, and he is enjoying living here. I mean, he's the king of the city, realistically. He just, any amount of playoff success comes their way, and things will get turned up a whole nother notch too. So that was really the only thing that I took away from it, and that's not something that he hasn't been saying all along. How much he really likes it here and wanted to be in Toronto long term, and as he alluded to in his tweet, wants to take this team up the mountaintop and achieve their goal. Hopefully, it does happen. But what I did find more interesting in Brad Treliving's press conference was more so just the way that it sounded as though Auston Matthews wasn't so fixated on the money. And we kind of got this sense that this deal was going to get done all along. Like all the insiders reporting it saying, yeah, it's a pretty easy deal. They kind of got the parameters of what's going to happen. And even Brad Treliving going off and saying, like, hey, it wasn't as tough as we expected. And it sounds as though, or Treliving made it sound that winning was the number one priority realistically for Auston Matthews and needing to know what the plan was. The money was obviously important, but almost as though they knew a ballpark figure of what it would take to sign Matthews, but then Matthews had to get sold on the plan and the vision of Brad Treliving, which Austin said kind of happened when Treliving went out there earlier this summer to go speak with them, and they kind of just met each other. They got to know one another for a week or two. So, I thought that we didn't learn really anything new, I guess you could say, during the Matthews and Treliving press conference, outside of the fact that both sides wanted to get it done. Both sides were motivated to get it done. And if you ask Brad Treliving, it got done because, quote, Austin decided he wanted to get it done. And he did say that, hold on, what's the rest of this quote? It got done because Austin said, I want to get it done. I want to be here. I want to be a non-issue. I want the focus to be where it needs to be, and that's on winning and putting all of our energies on the ice, and that's why it's done. At the end of the day, he made the decision, and to me, it's a sign of leadership. We can all want certain things, but until a player says he wants to get it done, that's why it gets done. That's what he had to say about getting this contract signed, sealed, and delivered with Auston Matthews. And although those are very nice things to say about Auston Matthews and basically saying, hey, man, he wanted to get this done, that's why it's done, did this also not feel like a jab and a shot at William Nylander? Let's talk about that on the other side, buddy, because to me, that's all I heard was, is that a shot at Willie? So chat about that in a sec. But before we do, let me tell you guys about one of today's show sponsors. It's our good friends over at FanDuel. Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $1,000 off NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now's the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL and the Locked On Network. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano with Dave Morassutti. We're hosts here at Locked On Leafs, a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast. If you're new here to the show, we appreciate you for checking us out. Hopefully you enjoy it. You can subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, also up on YouTube as well. And if you are coming here every single day, you're one of our everydayers, you know who you are. We appreciate you guys as well. All right, so I was just talking about this comment that came from Brad Treliving's mouth, talking about Auston Matthews and how he said, at the end of the day, he made the decision to get the deal done, and he took that as a sign of leadership. The reason why it's done is because Auston wanted it to get done, and he reiterated that a couple of times throughout the press conference. And there is one other player that the Maple Leafs are trying to get a deal done with. Is he kind of taking a little shot at Willie and saying, hey, Auston wanted to get it done, that's why it's done? Is he now maybe saying, hey, Willie's not playing ball as much as Auston is, and that's why this ain't getting done? Because that's how I read it.
I was thinking that too, because I was just like, like we heard William Nylander literally that same day, and it was the biggest highlight of the day up until the Auston Matthews signing. Nylander saying, I'm in no rush to get a deal. I don't know why everybody is stressing. And I think at that point, I thought it was a shot a little bit at the media and fans saying, Constantine, why isn't Willie signed? What's taking so long? And I'm also like, how do you think Brad Treliving feels about that? Like, don't you think your employer, the person that's got a plan for the team's future, wouldn't want to know what he has to work with going forward? Like it just feels like there's a Nylander. Nylander says he wants to be here. He constantly says it's Toronto or anything. Well, then why do you feel like you have all the time in the world to get a deal done when Brad Treliving is trying to figure out plans and things like that? It just seems like this one is not. Brad Treliving didn't exactly give me the best confidence in saying that Nylander's playing it as easy as he can be, and the fact that he's also Auston Matthews. He kept saying how Auston Matthews was so involved with the deal and things like that, and Nylander's just like, agents dealing with it. Him and Brad will talk. Like you're just not even going to have. I'm sure there's some involvement with Nylander, but it just seems like we're getting two different types of negotiations here.
Yeah, and it's I think that's true though. Like I do think that these are being taken in different ways. I think that's by design by the player. Like I think Austin wanted to be a little bit more involved. And for Willie, it just seems like he's going with the flow. Like for Willie, it doesn't really matter about the vision. It sounds as though Willie's very much like, yeah, I want to win, but the number needs to be right for me as well because I can win elsewhere and get that number. I think is almost what it seems like for him. But for sure, I think this was a little bit of a jab. And yeah, I wonder if that's rubbing Treliving the wrong way, though. And if that is rubbing him the wrong way, and he's kind of seeing the writing on the walls where he's like, if this guy's not 100% in it to win it here, and he's not willing to, get a deal done and hammer something out anytime soon. And I mean, maybe there is something a lot closer behind closed doors than they're leading on. Maybe something is, pretty close between the two parties at this point, just neither side really saying anything. Like we know that neither party is looking to negotiate in the media. Brad Treliving made that very clear that he doesn't talk about contracts within the media. And I mean, Nylander like 6 times basically said like, yeah, my contract will be spoken with that's between the agent and Brad. He said that a lot throughout his conversation with 32 Thoughts. So, there could be something in the works. It's a little closer than we think, but either way, it just doesn't give you the same feeling that the Matthews contract did. That's always seemed like Matthews was, it's going to get announced here soon. It's pretty easy. It'll get done. These are going to be the parameters. We're just kind of waiting to see when it happens. Not as easy with Willie. Not as easy. And then, the comments about how, again, he said, not sure what the rush is. There's still a whole year left on my contract. Yeah, there's a rush for the team so that they can, figure out their future, their cap future. Yeah. Like this isn't just a one-man situation here, Willie. And I just, for those reasons, again, somewhat think to myself, I wonder if that's going to rub Brad the wrong way. And maybe trade route is kind of the way that we go here. And go ahead.
Well, and it wasn't just how he said it. It's kind of the look on his face. Like William Nylander is a very relaxed guy. Like nothing seems to really faze him.
Yeah.
But in a way, there was a little bit of a cockiness where he was just like, it would take a lot for me to not be in Toronto and things like that. Because he knows that like he hasn't made here, right? He's kind of the under the radar star where, he doesn't have to. Yeah, he deals with blowback and he deals with, criticism, but he's not put into the same limelight at times that Marner and Matthews are. But he kind of also understands that his ball's in his court here a little bit.
To be fair, he's also the one who performs the best come playoff time. So he never has to answer those questions for why do you fail come springtime.
True. But you look at it too, I think he understands that the ball's in his court a little bit here.
Yeah.
Because, well, if the Leafs can't get a deal done with me, then they risk me walking to free agency and they got like they're not going to get what they think in a trade for me and things like. I think there's a little bit of that as well. I think he understands his position a lot better this time around than the first time he was doing this contract, and where the Leafs could just be like, yeah, you're just not going to play this year. Like you can't just go out and do whatever you want, right? You can't just go and sign with another team. We own your rights. When he was an RFA, this time around, he's like, yeah, I can take my time because if they want to play hardball with me, then I can just play my hand and go and find somewhere else if they really want me to. I think there's a little bit of that as well.
I think so. I think there's some of that as well. One other thing that I do want to mention for why not only do I think that a trade could be possible, but honestly, this really turned me off of William Nylander. He's a pineapple on pizza guy, Dave. Pineapple on pizza. He not only said that it's okay, but he said that's his order with the boys. He's got a spot in Sweden apparently that he loves going to get some pizza, and apparently pineapple on pizza is his thing. That's his order with the boys, and I can't tell you how much of a character concern that is that he is a pineapple on pizza guy. Like this guy should get shipped out of here, man.
He's probably that guy that goes to the X and gets that pickle pizza that I like wanted to vomit when I saw the picture of.
Yeah, is there anything you were at the were you here yesterday? Did you go to the X? Was there any good food portion options? Like I know that every year there seems to be a
4-pound taco. 4-pound taco.
4 pounds?
4 pounds.
Did you get it?
No, because I could not.
Someone eating.
I saw said 4-pound taco.
So is it like girthy or lengthy?
Girth. Like there's two different ones. There was a really lengthy one, but the one I saw was the girthy one, and I'm just like, how in the world does somebody think? Let's go with a 4-pound taco. And like you can't really share a taco too. Like
yeah, not really. It's just difficult.
There's
very difficult.
There was the
difficult to eat as is. Yeah. Imagine having a 4 pounds trying to maneuver that thing.
I saw something called an ice cream burger. I didn't even look. I didn't even want to see. Ice cream burger.
I saw like the watermelon burger, but that to me doesn't seem that like weird. I don't. That doesn't seem exy to me. I always want something that's really bizarre, but also sounds good. And for some reason, I feel like I haven't seen many things coming out of the X this year that sound really good that we need. But if you are a Toronto native and you've been down to the X or Southern Ontario native, regardless, been down to the C&E, let us know in the comments down below what foods you've tried and what I need to try, because I'm going later this week, and I've been told that there's not a lot of great options this year when it comes to the food. So I would like to hear someone else's opinions on that one. So let me know down below. All right, Dave, let's take one more quick break. When we get back, let's do a Puckdoku. We'll do today's Puckdoku, and we'll see if we can get the lowest unique score that we can get. So we'll do that on the other side. I'm Mike DiStefano with Dave Morassutti, listening to the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of Locked On Podcast Network. It's our team every day. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano. Got Dave Morassutti here with me. And Dave, we kind of tease this all the time, how we were going to do a Puckdoku, and then we end up talking way too much and we never get to do it. Well, I think today we left ourselves enough time that we can actually get to today's Puckdoku. And I haven't seen it yet. You haven't seen it other than the fact that you're just pulling it up right now. So neither of us, we're not cheating. We have no idea what it is. We haven't been able to, try and come up with any answers yet. So it's very much live, on the spot, on the fly. And we're just taking a look at the columns right now. Across the top, we've got the Carolina Hurricanes, the Philadelphia Flyers, and 1,200 plus career games. And then on the bottom, or on the left-hand side, we've got the Ducks, the Devils, and 3+ teams that they played for in their career. Wow, this is going to be kind of difficult, actually. That is kind of hard. This one here. All right, let's start right up at the top. I guess we'll try and go whichever way you want to go, I suppose. But Ducks and Hurricanes. Ducks and Hurricanes. Who played for the Ducks and the Hurricanes?
I have like I'm thinking like defenseman here.
Yeah.
Pretty sure James Wisniewski played for both teams.
Yeah, that'd be a decent one.
Let's see if I can remember how to spell James, because there's different ways of spelling James Wisniewski. Yes, WRIS. Yeah,
that's it right there.
Oh, good
nice
start.
1%. Attaboy. Attaboy. Nice start. All right, Ducks and Flyers. Let's not go Joffrey Lupul because that's gonna be that'll be
Lupul's like synonymous with the Ducks.
So's Pronger. Can't go Pronger either. Pronger cannot be a guy who we put on both. Outside of those two, though, can we think of another player or two who makes sense for?
And they've had to play at least a game. That's the other thing you have to.
Yes, played one game for each team here. I just had one, and then you.
Sorry.
No, I forget who it is now. I'm trying to remember, and I cannot. I have one for. Actually, wait, maybe I don't. I was gonna say Yanni Kukkonen. Did Kukkonen ever play for the Devils?
Kukkonen.
Kukkonen and Hurricanes. I don't know if he did. Anyways,
you like Lonnie. It's not the first time I've heard you put up Lonnie Kukkonen's name. You know what? You know who I'm thinking of? There's the guy with the guy who used to play for the Canucks. Was a defenseman. Italian last name.
Played for.
I think he played for the. Was it Spiza?
Oh yeah, Lucas Spiza. Yeah, he played for the Ducks and the Flyers for sure.
I'm just wondering though, like that's a guy who's played with a bunch of different teams. That might work for the 3+ teams played. One.
Yeah, toss that. You definitely toss that on there. 3+ teams played for the Flyers. Lucas Spiza.
Yeah. Luca.
Oh, let's go! What a pull! What a pull by you!
This guy played for so many teams, and I remember he played for the Ducks. It was just the Flyers. I couldn't remember. I think that was like one of the first teams he played for.
I think he's a Flyers draft pick. Yeah, 0.1%. By the way, was what Lucas Spiza was given here
for the people at home, people on audio that don't have it. If you are watching on audio or listening on audio, because you're not watching the audio, listening on audio, go and watch it on YouTube so you can see the visualization of this because it's great.
My brain's not functioning very quickly this morning. I am trying to come up with like an obscure Duck and Flyer, and it's just I'm really struggling here. I feel like there's like a. There was some.
Ray Emery play for the Ducks. He played for a bunch of teams too.
He did. I don't know if the Ducks were one of them though.
Ottawa.
I just don't know.
I want to say he did like for a brief stint, like as a backup, because he was a starter in Ottawa, and then like for the rest of his career, he was. I know he played for the Flyers. That I know. I want to say Ducks because I remember he played for Chicago at one point in his career. I mean, we know Ottawa for sure. I just remember there was a stint with the Ducks in there somewhere during like it would have been like early 2010s, I want to say. I do think Ray Emery would be a good option here.
He would be. I don't remember him at all as a Duck. Like they had so many goalies in the early 2000s. That's the thing with the Ducks. Like before John Gibson leveled themselves out, they had like Anderson was in there, Jonas Hiller was in there, Brizgalov was in there. They just had so many. Victor Fost was a player who started some games for them. Was Ray Emery like in that mix as well in the early 2000s?
I think he was. I think it was like
2010?
it must have been like I think it might have been because I know it was Ottawa, then it was Philly right after that. And I know he had a second stint in Philly. He had 2 stints in Philly. But I remember just reading about him like after obviously his unfortunate passing. Like I kind of like I remember reading his bio. I do think he was with. Just trying to remember who the other goalie would have. I know like he was in the KHL too. But he's been on so many different teams. I do think he signed. I think Emery had because I'm trying to remember who the other goaltender would have been.
In Dave we trust. I'm gonna go ahead and say in Dave we trust. You pulled out Wisniewski and Spiza. I think Ray Emery, like the short stint that he would have played there, not enough people are probably gonna think of him.
All right, let's lock it in.
I think we're good. Boom, 2%. Let's go. Good pull.
Now I'm curious. Let me look this up. When did he play for let me see when this was. So I'm gonna look it up for those who are wondering, or maybe those who know. This would have been look at here. 2010, 2011.
How many games?
10 games. He went 7-2. He had a 2.28 goals against average and a 9.26 save percentage.
There you go.
He went 7-2 in those 10 games. He must have gotten injured, I guess, for him to not play a lot. Let's see what they say. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. All right. Now we got. Do we want to
1,200 plus career games played from a Anaheim Duck? So this is literally anybody ever who played for the Ducks that played 1,200 games, or is it 1,200 games?
Well, I mean, you always the first names that always come to mind are like Niedermeyer, Solani. Those are kind of the Pronger. Well, did Pronger end up getting to that many games? Because
actually, yeah, you're right. Maybe not. Maybe he didn't play that many games. So who plays close? Who like was an old man who went and played for the Ducks at like the end of their career? Was there anyone like that?
Ooh, man. Well, I mean, we always think of Patrick Marleau, but like he only played for the Leafs in San Jose.
Yeah, he never played for the Ducks.
So actually though, did Patrick Marleau would be a good one for the bottom right one, maybe 3+ teams played career and 1,200 plus career games, because it would have been Leafs.
Put him there.
Yeah,
for sure.
This one right here. It might 10. Okay, I'll take. I know we like to get into that 1 to 2 range, but 6% I'll take. That's a hard one though to know.
I'm trying to think, like, is there a like fourth liner who played 1,200 games for the Ducks?
Oh, I have a name. Because people don't think of this player. I don't think of this player because I know he played for a crap load of teams. Matt Cullen. Matt Cullen played a lot of hockey games.
He did. He did. Did he play for the Ducks?
He did play for them.
All right, let's do it. Let's go with it.
Again, I spend way too much time on Hockey Reference in my life to remember like how many games certain people play.
1%.
Wow.
There we go. Back in action.
Although Lucas Hughes, I don't know if we're never gonna top that one. That one was the best one we've done. All right, Devils and Hurricanes.
Did Lee Stempniak play for the Hurricanes?
Did Lee Stempniak play for the Hurricanes? Well, played for the Blues after that lovely trade made by Cliff Fletcher.
Yes.
Played for Calgary. Played for Phoenix. Did he play for? I don't think he played for the Devils. I know he played for Carolina.
He did play for the Devils. I think he was traded to the Devils, and he had like a a
right.
playoff run kind of thing.
Right.
I
Okay.
do remember him pretty late in his career, I think, in Carolina.
Well, I actually think this would be a good one to try.
Lee
I think
Stempniak. He also played for 3+ teams.
he did. Actually,
He
that would.
played for like 30 teams.
Let's try that one because that's gonna be harder to figure out.
No, that would be easy to figure out.
Yeah. So you want to do Lee Stepniak for this one?
Yeah, because I don't know how many people are going to think Lee Stempniak, I guess, for this. 3%. Can you use one person for 2 squares?
No, it's one. Yeah, you can only use the player once.
So a Carolina Hurricane who's been on 3+ teams.
Oh, there's gotta be so many players that have played for
Tons
that
of
had a
players.
cup of coffee.
Tons of players. I mean, Eric Cole, for whatever reason, is the first player that comes to mind.
Yeah,
Eric
I think
Staal.
Eric Cole would be an easy one though. No.
Yeah, right. So we're not going to use it. That was the first one that came to mind. Just trying to get the juices flowing here, Dave. That's all. Trying to get them flowing, trying to get some answers here. Eventually, we'll stumble upon one that's, a good one. How many teams did Kevin Weeks play for?
Kevin Weeks. His goalie
Definitely
seems
played for more than 3. Reimer?
yeah, Reimer. I think Reimer would be an easy one because
I don't know. How many people would think of James Reimer? Like, there's a billion people who played for the Hurricanes.
I mean, I
think
thought about
Reimer
Reimer.
is-
I did think about Reimer too.
But I think that because we're Leafs people,
well.
like Reimer's top of mind.
Did Mark Recchi play for the Hurricanes?
I'm not sure. Doug Waite did.
Doug Waite's not a bad one.
But Doug Waite, there's a thing with the Stanley Cup and him lifting it. So I feel like people would remember Doug Waite.
Did Kevin Dineen play for them?
I have no idea.
That might be too tough to remember that one.
I don't hate my Reimer suggestion.
You want to try Reimer? All right, let's try Reimer.
Marc-Andre Gragnini.
Who?
I don't know if he played for the Hurricanes, actually. Yoni Pikkinen played for the Canes.
Whoa,
Boom! 0.7%, less than 1%. Eat it, Dave.
Hey, I still got the 0.1% with Speeds. Okay, let's.
I know, but you're sitting here trying to tell me, I think Reimer's.
I think a lot of people would think, like, come on, Reimer's played for so many teams now.
Yeah, but of all of the people to choose for Carolina, how many people are going to land on Reimer?
I don't know. I thought
only 0.7% of the people to answer your question.
Okay, we got 2 more here: a Devil and a Flyer.
Devil and a Flyer. So this could be. I'm trying to think if there is.
I mean,
Boucher? Did Boucher play for the Devils?
Okay, so I have a name, and actually, because we only have really 2 Leafs Actually, we have quite a few Leafs references. We have 3 Leafs references in this one.
Yeah.
But I got a name here, and people in Toronto, I met him before. Peter Zezel.
Peter Zezel. He played for
If this is like an old reference too, because his career ended like early. He was a 90s guy. I remember I met him at like a skate at the rink near me. And I got his autograph, and I'm like, who the heck is Peter Zezel? I didn't really know him. I felt bad for not really knowing him. And then my dad's like, go look him up. And then I looked up. He played like 4 seasons with the Leaf, I think it was. But I remember reading that he played for the Flyers. The Devils one, that might have been a cup of coffee one.
As long as he played one game and you're confident of that, I
I'm
think
pretty
that is
confident
one that nobody will use.
with Peter Zezel.
Oh, more people thought Peter Zezel than James Reimer.
Wow.
How does that make you feel?
Unbelievable. There must have been a lot of people that remember Peter Zezel like me.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a name that I've heard. Like, he's not a random nobody, I guess.
Right.
But definitely not. You got to go pretty far into the memory bank to pull out the name Peter Zezel. All right, we need a someone who at one point in their career played for the New Jersey Devils and played 1,200 plus games.
Oh man. I'm thinking about it. That Matt Cullen. Actually, I don't think Matt Cullen ever played for the Devils. I was just thinking about that because we used that one pretty early, but that was still a good one at 1%.
We did
1,200 plus games.
like
that.
You gotta be a good player to play 1,200 plus games.
Or just like you don't have to be a superstar player, but like good enough that you can get on enough teams. Did Bobby Holik play for the Devils?
To play 1,200 games, like you got to play into your mid 30s.
Oh yeah, late 30s even in a lot of cases.
Yeah, like that's the thing.
I have a cup. Oh wait, what's that broadcaster's name? Ken Denico. Did he? Is that
play 1,200 games?
I think he played a long time. I have a couple of names here that I think would work.
What about Brian Rolston?
How many games did Brian Rolston play?
A lot. The guy played on a lot of teams too.
Oh, we could have used that one for the 3+ teams. Brian Rolston. Did he play for? Yeah, he did play for. Did he win a cup with the Devils?
Yeah.
How many games would you have played? That might be a good one too. So the ones I have, like Ken Denico, I know he played a long time for New Jersey.
He did. So that's why I wonder if that's a little like that might be an easy one.
Okay.
Because he played for Jersey for so long.
The other one I thought it was Bobby Holik. But
Bobby Holik, yeah.
He played a long time with the Devils too, though. He played for the Thrashers. Poor guy.
Yep. Rangers. Stint with the Rangers.
Yeah. I'm also thinking of Matthew Schneider as well. Did he play for the Devils though? I don't think he did. I'm not confident that he played for the Devils. I know he played.
Neither am I.
I kind of like the Brian Rolston one. That's a pretty obscure name. Let's go with Rolston. I think I that wasn't a name that came to me right away, and I'm usually pretty in the tune. 0.5%.
Boom! Let's go. I came through with a couple clutch ones.
We are a winner. 9 out of 9 correct. Uniqueness is 13.
That's not bad. 13's not bad. Honestly, the only one that I think we should if we could redo it again.
Marlowe
was just too. Yeah, Marlowe was too.
Marlowe and apparently Stepniak.
Yeah, Stepniak was up. He was 3%. But you know what? I think 3% and under is. I think that's okay. Once you start going over 5%, you're starting to think too simply. We were thinking a little too simpleton when it came to Patrick Marleau. But what was the best one we had there? Lucas Spiza. Lucas Spiza was your poll.
I'm proud of
0.1%. That's it. One of these days we'll do one where we'll literally have a uniqueness score of 1 and all of them be 0.1%. That's our goal.
The Rolston was a pretty good one too. That was our second best one.
Yeah. Ryan Rolston 0.5. James Reimer 0.7. Zezel 0.8, and then Emery Cullen 1% as well. No, Wisniewski 1%, Cullen, and then Ray Emery was 2%. So fun stuff. Maybe we'll do some more of these at some point down the road. I didn't realize how long that was going to take us though to get through.
They do take some time. Considering we're doing them without any Literally, you're just like, let's do Puckdoku. I said, okay. Don't even know
Yeah,
what
we're
it
not
is.
looking them up. We're just assuming and like trying to remember or pulling things back in the memory bank. We're debating, okay, which one. And we also were trying to get the lowest score. Like we could have went with the easy ones just to get it done quick. But we want to try and think and get the
Up
lowest
here.
score as well. So,
We want
all right.
here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that'll do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all podcasting platforms, as well as YouTube, and receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it.
The X platform.
Yes, at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti, and follow the show as well at Locked On Leafs. We'll be back for another episode for you guys on Wednesday. But until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.